In the history of every nation, there are individuals whose legacy and contributions remain unshakable pillars of its identity and cultural heritage. Stoyan Zaimov is one of those significant figures in Bulgarian history, whose role is undoubtedly of essential importance for the formation of the modern Bulgarian nation and statehood. Born in Rupkite, Zaimov becomes a symbol of defiance and the pursuit of national self-determination during the liberation struggle and thereafter, in the building of the young Bulgarian state. Zaimov exerts his influence not only as a political and revolutionary figure but also as a cultural figure, educator, and public figure, contributing to the shaping of the country's cultural and educational system. His life and activities are an example of the tireless struggle for national liberation, social justice, and cultural revival, which is the foundation for understanding the contemporary values and identity of the Bulgarian people. Early years. Stoyan Zaimov was born on the 12th of August, 1853 in the small but historically significant village of Rupkite, located in the foothill region of Bulgaria. From an early age, he was exposed to the stories and tales of Bulgarian heroes and the struggle for freedom, which shaped his national identity and awakened in him a desire for education and self-improvement. Primary education. Zaimov's primary education takes place in his native village of Rupkite, where he receives the basics of literacy and initial knowledge about the world. In this period, education in Bulgaria is often severely limited and dependent on local conditions, often conducted in church schools or private home lessons. Despite these challenges, the early educational environment in Rupkite is stimulating, inspiring young Zaimov to seek additional knowledge and strive for self-improvement. Continuing education and the significance of the Pedagogical Institute in Moscow. Receiving education at the Pedagogical Institute in Moscow in 1882 represents a significant stage in Zaimov's educational and professional career. This period not only strengthens his academic knowledge but also provides him the opportunity to meet leading thinkers and revolutionaries, as well as to become acquainted with new ideas circulating in Russian society and more broadly in Europe. Academic preparation. At the Pedagogical Institute, Zaimov acquires deep knowledge in areas such as pedagogy, philosophy, history, and literature. His training there is aimed at preparing qualified teachers who are equipped with modern teaching methodologies and education. This experience significantly enriches his views on the educational process, and gives him the tools to contribute to the development of Bulgarian education after his return to Bulgaria. After returning from the Pedagogical Institute in Moscow, Zaimov is armed with modern pedagogical ideas and methodologies, which he focuses on benefiting the educational process in Bulgaria. He applies his experience and knowledge in several key areas that have a lasting effect on the development of Bulgarian education. Reforms in education. Zaimov plays a leading role in reforming the Bulgarian educational system. He advocates for the modernization of curricula and programs, introducing new subjects that reflect the needs of contemporary society and national culture. He encourages the inclusion of sciences such as natural sciences, mathematics, and modern languages, which previously did not occupy a central place in the curriculum. Improving the quality of teaching. Zaimov is among the pioneers who emphasize the importance of quality teaching for the success of the educational process. He introduces new methodologies for teacher training, including practical training and continuing professional development. Zaimov stresses that teachers should be not only conveyors of knowledge but also inspirers and mentors for their students. Support for girls' education. Zaimov also advocates for equal access to education for girls, which at the time is still an unconventional perception. He emphasizes the importance of education for girls not only for their personal development, but also for the development of society as a whole. The role of Zaimov in pre-liberation Bulgaria. Stoyan Zaimov is extremely active in the period before the liberation of Bulgaria from Ottoman rule. His role is multifaceted, encompassing participation in revolutionary organizations, the spread of liberating ideas, and participation in the preparation of uprisings. Zaimov is known for his ability to organize, motivate, and inspire others towards the cause of national liberation, using his education and intellectual abilities to spread revolutionary ideas. Participation in revolutionary organizations. Zaimov engages in revolutionary activities at a young age, inspired by nationalist ideas and the desire for Bulgaria's independence. He becomes part of the internal revolutionary organization, participating in the creation and distribution of illegal literature and organizing secret meetings. His role also includes preparing for armed struggle, recruiting volunteers, and raising funds for revolutionary activities. His participation in the preparation and execution of the April Uprising in 1876 is particularly notable, which is one of the key moments in the struggle for the liberation of Bulgaria. Although the uprising is suppressed, it plays an important role in attracting international attention to the Bulgarian national question. Relationships with other prominent revolutionaries. Stoyan Zaimov establishes close relationships with other prominent revolutionaries such as Vasil Levski, Lyuben Karavelov, and Hristo Botv. These connections are of crucial importance for coordinating revolutionary activities, and for the exchange of ideas and strategies for the liberation of Bulgaria. Interaction with such leading figures enriches Zaimov's views and strengthens his resolve to continue the fight for national liberation. The influence of these connections is reflected not only in his active participation in revolutionary activities, but also in his subsequent role in the political and cultural life of liberated Bulgaria. Stoyan Zaimov uses his experience and knowledge gained during the revolutionary struggle to contribute to the building and strengthening of the new Bulgarian state. After the liberation of Bulgaria from Ottoman rule in 1878, Stoyan Zaimov actively engages in the political life of the newly liberated state. His contribution in the post-liberation period is significant, as he holds a number of important positions, and actively participates in legislative activity and reforms that form the foundation of the modern Bulgarian state. Participation in political life. After liberation, Zaimov delves into the political arena with the aim of assisting in the building of a stable and functioning Bulgarian state. He engages in the development of new laws and the constitution, while simultaneously working to establish democratic principles in the country's governance. Zaimov is convinced of the necessity of creating a strong educational system and cultural identity as the basis for the progress of the Bulgarian people. Held positions and impact. In the years following liberation, Zaimov holds several key positions in the newly forming Bulgarian government, including deputy in the Constituent and Ordinary National Assembly, as well as ministerial positions. In these roles, he influences the development of the legislative and administrative structure of the state, emphasizing the importance of the rule of law and the protection of civil liberties. His contribution to educational policy and cultural development is particularly significant. As a minister, Zaimov supports and initiates several reforms aimed at improving the quality of education, expanding the educational network, and promoting the cultural heritage of Bulgaria. Contributions to legislative activity and reforms. Zaimov plays an important role in the country's legislative activity, participating in the development of laws that are foundational for the functioning of the modern Bulgarian state. He is among the architects of several key bills, including those related to education, local self-government, the judicial system, and the protection of national interests. His work contributes to the establishment of Bulgaria's legal framework, advocating for the inclusion of liberal and democratic principles in the governance of the state. Zaimov is an active participant in debates on the formation of the Bulgarian constitution, supporting ideas for the separation of powers, civil rights, and freedoms. Participation in cultural and educational initiatives. Stoyan Zaimov is an active participant in the cultural and educational life of Bulgaria after liberation. He advocates for the development of national culture and education as the main pillars of Bulgarian society. Zaimov is convinced that cultural and educational development are key to forming a strong national identity and achieving social progress. Creation and maintenance of cultural and educational institutions. One of Zaimov's significant contributions is his participation in the creation and maintenance of cultural and educational institutions. He is one of the founders of several important cultural and educational institutions, including libraries and schools, which serve as centers for training and cultural development. These institutions provide Bulgarian citizens with access to education and culture, thereby contributing to the development of an educated and cultured society. Contribution to the development of Bulgarian culture and literature. Zaimov also makes a significant contribution to the field of Bulgarian culture and literature. He supports the development of Bulgarian literature by encouraging young talents and supporting the publication of Bulgarian authors. Zaimov believes in the power of the word and literature as means of expressing the national spirit and historical heritage. He is convinced that literature plays a central role in education and the formation of moral and ethical values in society. In addition to his direct contribution to literature, Zaimov actively participates in cultural debates and initiatives aimed at popularizing Bulgarian culture both at home and abroad. He is one of the defenders of Bulgarian cultural heritage and works hard to preserve and disseminate it. Final years of life. In the final years of his life, Zaimov continues to work for the improvement of the educational system and the development of Bulgarian culture. He engages with various social and cultural organizations, contributing his experience and knowledge. Despite health problems that begin to manifest with age, Zaimov does not cease to be an active participant in public life, showing unwavering dedication to his ideals. Assessment of historical legacy. The historical legacy of Stoyan Zaimov is exceptionally rich and diverse. His contributions to political history, educational development, and the cultural revival of Bulgaria are undeniable. Zaimov is one of the key figures in modern Bulgarian history, whose influence is felt long after his death. He is a symbol of the struggle for national liberation, enlightenment, and cultural revival, and his ideas continue to inspire generations of Bulgarians. Management of military historical museums and monuments in Pleven. Stoyan Zaimov plays a key role in the organization and management of military historical museums and monuments in Pleven, which are an important part of the cultural and historical identity of the city. This activity is particularly significant, as Pleven is one of the places of great historical significance for Bulgaria, especially in the context of the Russo-Turkish War of 1877 to 1878, and the liberation of Bulgaria from Ottoman rule. Contribution to the preservation of historical memory. Through his work in managing military historical objects, Zaimov contributes to the preservation of historical memory, and the education of generations about the significance of the Liberation War. His involvement in this process helps develop cultural tourism in Pleven, and provides opportunities for studying Bulgarian history at the local and national level. Impact and significance. Zaimov's activities regarding military historical museums and monuments not only affirm Pleven as a center of historical memory, but also highlight his vision of the importance of cultural and historical heritage for the Bulgarian nation. He understands that preserving historical sites and monuments is essential for maintaining national identity and educating future generations. In conclusion, Stoyan Zaimov leaves a significant mark on the cultural and historical environment of Pleven through his work in managing military historical museums and monuments. His contribution to preserving historical memory and developing cultural tourism in the region is part of his rich legacy, which continues to inspire and enrich Bulgarian culture and history. Death. Stoyan Zaimov dies on the 9th of September, 1932 in Pleven. His death marks the end of a productive and inspiring life, dedicated to serving the Bulgarian nation in the fields of education, culture, politics, and the national liberation movement. Conclusion. Stoyan Zaimov leaves indelible traces in Bulgarian history through his multifaceted contribution in the fields of education, culture, politics, and the national liberation movement. His life is an example of tireless work and dedication to the ideal of a free and enlightened Bulgaria, embodying the pursuit of cultural and national revival.